Greetings folks, and welcome to another 81632-bit. I'm your host Rob, and today we're looking at, well, this is a follow-up video to the previously released one where I looked at some truly terrible Commodore 16 games. And in this video, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to look at some games which, for the Commodore 16, are actually pretty darn good, because I'm a believer in being fair, and it isn't fair to just say the Commodore 16 was a terrible machine. Indeed, I have a real fondness for the Commodore 16 as it was my first computer. But anyway, less of this waffle, let's get into the games. So, first up we have Monty on the Run, the classic multi-platform platformer from Gremlin Graphics. Now, compared to say the C64 or the ZX Spectrum versions, Monty on the Run here is massively simplified. The puzzle elements are gone and it is really just collect the coins to escape the game and complete it. But given the ridiculous limitations that this game is operating under, remember this is a 16K machine with somewhere around 12 to 13K available to developers, this is actually incredibly good. It looks really nice, it plays really nicely, it moves well, it handles well, and the sound is passable. But this is an excellent game, and the fact that a game as big as this managed to be crammed into such a small footprint and look as good and play as good as it does is frankly a miracle. This is the kind of game that you maybe wouldn't have expected to be really good on the C16. It's a proper platforming arcade adventure with a fairly big map. As you can see, I'm terrible at playing it, but it really is a great example of what talented coders could achieve on this somewhat underpowered machine. Yeah, this is great. Play it. And next up we have Storm. Now, Storm is a 1 or 2 player gauntlet clone, which, again, looks really good for the system that it's running on. Like I said, 16K system. This is not the most, powerful machine out there. Now you'll see from this footage I have a bit of trouble playing it. For some reason it started in 2-player mode and the controls were a little bit messed up when I was recording this footage, but I have played this prior to this, and yeah, this is an absolutely brilliant gauntlet clone, especially, as I said, given the limitations of the system. 16K, the graphics are big, bold, bright. The game does actually play really well, even if I'm slightly shoddy at playing it, but it's just a really cool little title. And if you had a C16 and somebody gave you a copy of this, you wouldn't be upset. Now obviously you can see from the player movement it has what we would like to refer to these days as tank controls rather than straightforward just run around with a joystick. But in a game like this, tank controls do kind of work, and as I said, it's a Gauntlet clone. Gauntlet is a great game, everyone loves playing Gauntlet. Why wouldn't you love playing this? This is definitely a top tier C16 game, and I really do recommend playing it. Now, next up we have a personal favourite of mine. Don't see this on many C16 best of lists, but this is Galaxons, which is a clone of the legendary arcade machine Galaxons, and this was one of the first games I had with my personal Commodore 16 back in the 80s, and it's really good fun. I mean, this is what the C16 should and quite often does excel at, which is single screen arcade action, because it fits nicely within the system's memory footprint. It makes excellent use of the system's graphics capabilities and wonderful looking colour palette. It's got serviceable sound, Galaxons was never the greatest sounding game anyway, and it's just bloody good fun to play. It's responsive, it's quick, it's a perfect single screen arcade shooter. What's not to love? it's just a damn fun game. You know, I've played many clones of Galaxons over the years, as I'm sure a lot of you have, and this to me stands out as one of the best, even bettering many official conversions for my money. So yeah, Galaxons for the C16. Brilliant game and definitely one to check out. Now, for my final choice in this video, I've gone with Ikari Warriors, which was a relatively late Commodore 16 title. Now, I will put a couple of caveats for this. As you can see, the scrolling isn't the smoothest. However, I think, you know, given the limitations of the system, this is a bloody brilliant version of the game. You know, yes, you can't shoot behind you or to the side of you, you can only shoot forwards. Yes, the graphics are not the greatest looking, but they look pretty decent, all things considered. You know, Ikari Warriors was a pretty big, relatively complex game compared to what the C16 was best at doing, as I said, which was really single screen titles. And this turned out to be a really playable version of a big arcade hit of the time. You know, Ikari Warriors was a very popular title, and the fact that it got released for the C16 in 1987 shows that yes, there was a market there, and if the games were well done, there was, you know, demand for popular titles on it. And yeah, you know, like I said, yes, the scrolling is janky, it's jerky, it's obviously block scrolling, and the background and the sprites scroll at slightly different rates, hence the jerkiness. But you know, as I said, this is something operating within 16k of RAM on a very low powered 8-bit CPU, and if you think about the arcade version and what hardware that was running on, this is good. Even when you stack it up against other 8-bit systems of the time, this is a impressive piece of coding in its own way. So yeah, Ikari Warriors, it's a damn fun game. So there you have it, folks, some really rather good games for Commodore's underappreciated, underloved and underpowered 8-bit home computer, the C16. Now, if there is demand for this, and please do let me know down in the comments below, I may do a couple of follow-up videos, again, bad games, good games, for the C16's slightly more powerful brother, the Plus 4, which had more RAM and therefore could achieve more with its games. And, you know, I may as well do some of these videos for some other great systems out there that people love and despise. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, do remember you can hit the like button, you can hit the subscribe button, they're both there for you to hit. You can also ring the bell to be notified of new uploads. You can find my various social medias down below if you want to comment with me. Do feel free to leave comments below as well, it really does help, and hit that hype button if you can, that really helps the videos. You know, if you want to support the channel in a more meaningful way, you'll find links below for my Ko-fi page, also my Patreon memberships and my YouTube memberships. You can see the names on screen right now of my current channel members. Much love to you guys, couldn't do this without you. And that's it for this week's video. This is the best games on the C16 in my opinion, feel free to disagree. I've been Rob. This has been 81632-bit, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.